What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Game Time Live. We want to wish everybody a happy holidays. We hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Thank you guys for all the love and support on the last bit of content that we've uploaded through the week. It's me and Daryl once again with another episode of Game Time Live. And of course, you know what it means. It's Sunday, so we've got another interview for you guys today. And we've got a big name in the house today. We've got head coach Scott Moore of the Grace College Lancers in the building today. Coach, it is awesome to have you back. You were here for the very start of this podcast, which now we've changed the name to Network, but it's great to have you on once again.
Yeah, good to be back, fellas. Hey, yeah, big name. This big name just got done shoveling the driveway and putting away the dishes. So my wife doesn't care.
No, you're all
It
good.
don't matter how many games the Lancers win. It's irrelevant. Get your crap done, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do
Coach,
your job.
Do your job, man. Do your job. That's right.
Coach, before we get into it, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Matt Gaddis at State Farm. Once again, big thank you to Matt Gaddis from State Farm for supporting the Game Time Network. But Coach, let's get it started. Obviously, this has been a very great start to the season for you guys. I guess now we're getting towards the middle of the season, maybe even a little conference play here soon. Talk about the beginning of the season for you guys as a whole, for maybe people that don't know Lancer basketball that well, how this season has gone for you so far.
Yeah, it was good. We had a lot of turnover where it was a unique situation. We don't do a lot of transfers. So we've done 2 transfers in my 7 years that we brought in. And, since we've been here, we, out of maybe 1 or 2 just special situations, we haven't had anyone leave the program either. So it's kind of a unique situation in today's world where, we get kids and we keep kids, and that's kind of your team. So with that, you see them grow as freshmen all the way through, past their senior year. And, we had a lot of good players last year. We graduated 7 guys. And, we had a really good recruiting class, but you know how it is, guys. Like you're putting a bunch of 18-year-olds on the floor and you're like, okay, they're really good, but like how good can they be in the Crossroads League and against, some of these really good teams early on in their career. And I think I've been a little surprised, to be honest with you. I think we came along a little quicker than I thought. Offensively, we've had some really good teams. Man, this might be the best offensive group we've ever had. We're so deep. We've got 10 guys that really know how to shoot, pass, and dribble. And they're super unselfish. I think that's the biggest thing, where they've really bought in early on, which is hard to do when you're coming from, like, every one of these kids was the best player from their team, right? Yeah. And a lot of these teams they're Indiana All-Stars, they're all region, they're all conference. And to give that up a little bit and say, hey, whatever I got to do to help the Lancers win. And it's been interesting just to see that dynamic play. We have two outstanding juniors that kind of lead us, and Ian Rosh and Gage Sefton. But then we have a bunch of rookies. We have no seniors on the team. And it's I'm not gonna lie, it's been a little surprising as a coach just to see just how quickly they've come along. But we're in a good spot. I mean, we're sitting at 2-0 in conference, and we come back after Thanksgiving here and have 2 tough ones against Huntington, and then go on the road to Spring Arbor, who both are really talented. So yeah, we'll see, man. It's the rankings don't mean a whole lot in November and December. I hopefully we're sitting here at the same thing, having the same conversation at the end of February.
No, I get you. It looks good on the YouTube thumbnail and the announcement, but I get it. You're focused on the next game. Completely understandable. I am going to give the floor to my co-host, Daryl. Daryl, take it away.
Coach, again, it's glad that you're back. Spend some time with us, man. We really enjoyed that last conversation that we had some months ago, and I was teased Isaiah a lot about it. It's like it felt like we were sitting at the barbershop just talking, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about Mike Conley playing against him and all these things. And I think I remember something like you said you dominated him or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember exactly.
Yeah. As I'm sitting on my couch and he's sitting in his palace. Yeah, collecting that paycheck. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mike's okay.
Definitely want to give you kudos for the season, the start of the season. As we always talk about, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Right.
You got those guys grounded. You're absolutely a grounded coach. And I think I promoted you as we were on our show talking about, I said, this guy can really coach, man. So people need to start paying attention a little bit further north up there, a little bit, for the all eyes can be on Grace College and keep this thing going for sure.
Oh, thanks, Daryl.
But I wanted to hit on. I was doing my back study research. I didn't realize on the 31st of December we got Grace College night with the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah,
I want to give you an opportunity to speak about that, being a Pacer fan,
Pacer guy, yeah.
a little bit, and I want to give you an opportunity to speak about that and spread the word. And Isaiah, if we could get the QR code and anything up for people, that'd be great as well too.
Yeah, it's been something that's been it's something we've done kind of in the past year. My athletic director has a relationship with one of their guys there at the Pacers, and we came up with this idea a while back and said, hey, could we ever play, at that time, Bankers Life, Gainbridge, and just kind of rent that out. And it kind of came to fruition probably about a decade ago, where it's like, yes, you can do that, but it's got to be kind of in cohesiveness with the Pacers and during a game day or something like that. So originally it was posted as, hey, let's just play like a 10 o'clock in the morning, and the Pacers will play that evening, and we'll stay for the game and whatnot. But what it's kind of turned into, and this is, we have an opportunity for the 31st, like you said, Daryl, is we get to go. The Pacers play the Magic at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That ticket that we'd be able to go with the Pacers, you actually get to go to the game, right? You get to watch the Pacers play. And then it's really cool. They clear out the arena, and, they put about 30 minutes on the clock, and, we're warming up already as soon as the game ends. And then everybody who has that ticket gets to come down on the floor and literally sit courtside and be able to watch us play right after that, about 6 o'clock. And it's, we did it a couple years ago as well. And it's just a cool opportunity for our kids just to play. Some of them had that opportunity to play in the state finals, so you get to play there, obviously, at Gainbridge, but some of them haven't, and just to play in that arena and be able to sit there is really, really cool. It's such a neat thing. So yeah, there's that QR. I think the biggest thing is we have seats that are kind of saved for our section. So if you want to get the best deal and everything, just because of the group ticketing, you can use that QR code. It's by tomorrow night where they kind of save all those tickets. You can still get tickets afterwards up until the game, but then it has to go directly through our sports at Grace to be able to get those. So really cool opportunity. We didn't even mention it. That's the first game we play when we get back from Hawaii. We're actually taking the boys for a 10-day trip to Hawaii over Christmas. So we're leaving on the 13th. We get back the 23rd, have a little Christmas break, and then we get down to Indianapolis to be able to tip that. So the Lancers are going to be spoiled here in the month of December, man.
Yeah, Hawaii. Then you come back to frozen Indianapolis, but you get to play and as Mark Boyle would say, the greatest NBA arena in the country.
Cool.
You can't complain about that, right?
No, it's and what a special season I think for our kids. It's been really neat. We had a chance to fly out to Colorado and obviously play against our boy Elijah out there in an exhibition game at the beginning of the year, and to be able to take this trip, obviously, which is once in a lifetime, to go to Hawaii and play 2 games and be there for 10 days with our families, and then to be able to come back and then be able to play match up with the Pacers. Like these. We talk about all the time, like, look, we understand we're NAI, but we try to make this as big time as possible. And you take a look at some of the stuff that we're doing and some of the stuff these kids get to experience. It's like, holy smokes, like we're doing exactly what Michigan State's doing, right? We're doing exactly what Indiana's doing, just not at that sort of scale. So that's what we want, man. We want to give as much experience as we can, and you want this to be something that they never forget, because you guys already know this. Like, the games come and go, and you forget about the actual games you play, but you don't forget about the experience with your brothers. And these are just some of those things that are just experiences that hopefully we'll never forget.
No, great point on all facets. Getting to Hawaii, spending some time there, then having those guys enjoy. Hopefully a couple of wins, get to see some landscape in Hawaii, very beautiful, and then come back home. What was the genesis? I know you talked about it in the beginning of trying to do something like with the Pacers beyond just this. Is this going to be an annual situation, or is this something that's a one-stop shop and we better get on while we can?
No, I mean, we try. I mean, the hardest part is the NBA schedule doesn't come out till July, right? And so being matched up, our window is small. And we essentially what we do is we say, okay, from December 27th, let's say, to January 1st, we've got 4 or 5 days there where we're kind of hoping, the Pacers are playing at home. And so what I do is I just get on the phone, and I already did it for next year, honestly. I got on the phone with the coach and said, hey, let's do this. If the Pacers play and we're able to work it out, then we're going to play down in Indy. If not, then it's going to be a home game for whoever, us decides ahead of time. So we haven't had it miss out yet. We've been lucky enough, that it's been able to match. So we're going to keep trying it, man. It's as long as they'll let us come, we're going to keep coming and let those boys experience. Because I'm telling you, man, it's when you walk down in the fourth quarter and you go in those locker rooms and you see like, hey, man, these shower heads are like 12 feet high. I'm serious. Like, these kids don't understand. I walked in and I was like, the first thing I noticed is like, look how high these shower heads are, man. These are for like 7-footers. Like, they don't have these 6-foot shower heads, man. They are big and the locker rooms are cool. And just be able to like have the bus pull in the players' entrance, right?
Yeah.
Be able to walk in the back and kind of feel like, again, you're a normal kid. Like, I'm a normal coach, but you feel like you're on a big stage for 2 hours, and it's just a neat experience.
Yeah, that's a good deal. You talk about experience, right? We chronicled your story, a couple of months ago, and it just come to fruition, right? So as this year has started, and you've seen some successes, what are some of the, lack of a better term, rat poisons that this Coach Moore may have to deal with as the season goes on, with regard to a lot of success, you now there's a bullseye on your back. Talk a little bit about some of those challenges that you've got as a coach and as a leader as well too.
Well, I think one thing is we just don't. I've never been one to hide from it. Like, I think some coaches try to, like, let's not talk about it, and we do talk about it. Like, I'll give you a quote, and this is going to sound weird, but I think you can understand where I'm coming from. I've never had any interest in being an underdog, like, ever.
Right.
Never wanted to be an underdog. Never wanted it, like, but in a unique way, I've always wanted to be the best team in the country that everybody cheers for. Okay. And that's so uncommon, right? Because typically, like, that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Number one team in the nation, like, that's the smug, like, look at us, like, we're unbeatable. And, Isaiah can tell you, like, we go to IU East and, play against a really good IU East team. And I know Coach Hester, really well. And, we played really well. And I want people who are sitting there watching our boys play, like, to leave there. And, I had an IU East fan come up to us afterwards and say, like, that's the best brand of basketball I think I've ever seen. And he was an old guy, and, I'm sure he's watched a lot of hoops, but, like, you get on the bus and, like, that's what you want to hear, right? You want to hear that your boys played the right way. They played hard, but also, like, I've done this long enough. I'm not afraid to lose. Like, I think that's one thing where, if you beat us, you beat us. Like, but you're going to have to beat us. Like, we're not going to beat ourselves. We're really difficult to beat. But you're going to have to come and just really take our legs out. And, dude, that's okay. Like, perfection doesn't mean just we're going to win every game by 30. And, like, I think perfection in college basketball is, what do you do with these experiences that you're given? You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. We're going to keep growing. And again, at the end of the day, when February comes around, we just want to be playing as good a basketball as we possibly can. I think the one, rat poison you talk about, I think the one thing that we'll need to address at some point just will be the youth that we have in situations. So, okay, our average margin of victory right now is like 27, right? We played 8 games. And we're winning games by 25, 30 points. It ain't going to happen, right? Like, we're going to be in a situation like, okay, now you're down 2 with a minute to go. You got to get a stop, and you got 3 freshmen on the floor at the same time. can you guys swallow that and be able to grow up and have that experience? That's just something, Daryl, they haven't been in yet.
Yeah.
And that takes some experience. Like my team last year, I can tell you this, anytime we had an opportunity where the game was close and it was the end of the game, they did not think they were going to win. They knew they were going to win. Like there was this almost like this ego where it's like, they've just been in this so many times and they've won so many times. It's like this false sense of just confidence where like, we have no chance. Like we're not losing.
Wow.
And so I think that will come up at some point where, okay, backs are against the wall, you lose a game, maybe you lose 2, you lose a back-to-back, playing in the crossroads. It's really tough. Like, okay, you're a rookie. You've only played 11 games in your career. How do you respond to this? So, but we're going to talk about it, man. Like, we talk about number 1 team in the country. Fellas, nobody cares. Like except like the Grace people, and hopefully they're not watching this. I'm sure they will be, but like the people outside the bubble or the fans, the Facebook fans, like they think it's the coolest thing in the world. And I just tell the boys, like, look, you want to be the number 1 team in the nation, but also like people are still coming after us. So it just doesn't matter. We keep it inside the circle. We go about our day-to-day the same ways if we were number 1 or if we were number 227. It makes no difference. And I think that's been helpful for us just to keep the real thing, like just keep it the same, man. Don't change. Just go about our business.
And Daryl,
well, real quick, I'm gonna get this one.
All right, go ahead.
So with that said, you kind of rolled into my next kind of comment / question. Does it make it a little easier to coach the young men in the practice scenario when you know it's coming? You got freshmen, you got youth. Does it make it a little easier to raise your voice, yell a little bit behind closed doors and say, listen, this is what we've got to be. The press clippings are nice, but this is where we make what we have.
Yeah, I try. Probably no, honestly. I try to be, as much as we need consistency from them, we need consistency from our staff. And again, I'm going to be the same coach, whether we won 5 in a row or we lost 5 in a row. Like, that may change, like, hey, I need to fix some things or we need to do this. But, like, again, I'm not going to change how I coach based on a result. I give an example. We played a game this season and we won by a big margin. And the next day we were watching film and we were just like, we were analyzing a lot of things that we made mistakes on. And it's like, okay, if I'm not going to make it about the result, then I'm not just going to throw it in the trash just because we won and like, okay, let's go practice today. We took care of that one. Like, no, like if you want to beat Huntington on Wednesday, who's really good, you can't make these mistakes because they'll take advantage of them. If you want, and again, at preseason, I'm not a big goals guy. My goals are always the same, right? Win a title, win the Crossroads League, like in a story, let's grow, let's get there. I'm more in tuned about, okay, if that's what you guys want, like how is this team going to be able to do that? And this team looks different than last team. And this team looked different than the 2 years ago team, where we probably are 20 points better than every team in the nation. So, we hammer a lot of just little detail stuff. Defensively, we have to get a lot better. I think that's one thing that my past teams, I think everybody gets caught because offense is sexy and like, we'll just average 105 points. Yeah, but like when you're playing at Spring Arbor on Saturday, like you're not going to score 105. Can you win 75-70? Right? When you get in the national tournament and you're going from playing a GPAC team and then the next day you turn around and you play a Sun Conference team where one, you're going to have to try to win in the hundreds and the other game you're going to have to try to win in the 70s. Like, can you do that? And I think if you want to win a national title, those are the things you have to consider from the day to day.
I like that. Good response. That's being consistent because those young men, to your point, they need that exactly from you, like you need exactly from them.
No question.
Well, Daryl, I was going to say, going back to that IU East game, I mean, when I tell you they were running and gunning, I mean running and gunning. And the defense was great. I mean, they switched from zone to man. I mean, there was a lot of things that I could compliment on. But, Coach, I want to ask, you said one of the things you said, right, getting better defensively. I mean, the defense looked good. You know, when I got to see it in person, I think the offense looked really good as well. And I think a big part of that was two players that you've already named, which was Gage Sefton and Ian Rosh. Talk about both of those players for a little bit. You got to talk about Ian before we got on here, but both of those players not only were key contributors in that game against IU East, but they've been very impactful for you all season.
I think starting with Ian he's so interesting because he's so unconventional. Like if you walk in and you see us warm up, you wouldn't know who he is because there's nothing like whoa about him, right? Honestly, he looks more like a paper boy than he does a freaking Indiana All-Star. He looks like he should be delivering mail or something, but I think Ian is that. If you looked up the word consistency, like that's who sets the tone for us. He's the same dude every day. And man, he is so like, we talk a lot, like we like emotions, but we don't want to be emotional. So I tell my guys, like, dude, it's okay to have emotions. Like you get a dunk, it's a big game. You can go crazy. Like you can bark a little bit, like you can compete, but we don't want emotional guys, right? Up and down and up and down. Those guys are hard to play. And, man, there's nothing emotional about Ian Rosh. He as steady as they come. I think one thing people don't realize is he's probably one of the best defenders in the country. Like, you're going to see his stats, and it's going to be like, oh, man, like he's super efficient, right? He's a wing. He averages, 18 and a half. He's shooting 64% from the field or something like that. He's knocking down threes now. Like, he's going to grab 8 rebounds a game. And he's only playing 24 minutes a game right now, which is kind of our style. But what you don't realize is if we need a guy to take out a guy, Ian's the first one. And a lot of teams are always like, hey, you got to be careful because you don't want your offensive guy to get so burned out guarding people, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I'm not worried about it. Like, we got enough guys that can score. Ian can still get 12. But if it means taking out another player, like he's so unique and he's so special. And I said off the air, he just went 13 for 13 in a game where he hit 5 threes, set our school record, didn't miss a shot. He had 8 rebounds and he played 23 minutes. It's insane what he's able to do. And then Gage, Gage is our captain, and Gage is also, a kid who came in with Ian and played barely 10 or 12 minutes a game as a freshman, had to really work to get on the floor. And then to see him develop now, he's had multiple 20-point games. He's big, he's physical. He can guard multiple positions, but I think it starts with those two, and you see their leadership, and just from there, everybody else just kind of follows suit. There's Ian right there, and he's just so talented, man. He's got a way about him where he gets to the free throw line. He's just so good with his see there, like and he's got this too, man. Like he's got that ability just to make big plays happen, and that was against Taylor, where man
and Taylor's Taylor's really good. I mean Taylor came to IU East last year, and we went to overtime with them. So Taylor's no joke,
Yeah, he has this ability just to, again, get to his spot. Here's one thing and he's humble. Like, we just told him he broke the school record, and he's like, yeah, cool. Sometimes you got to be more pumped up for him than he is. But I think where we've grown as coaches too, where, we've got a lot of guys like this, so I'm not giving anything away. But I think sometimes you can overcoach and you can design. Like, look, we got 15 million plays. My assistants are incredible with offensive design, but there'll be times where I'm just like, look, guys, like all of that other stuff, throw it in the window, get it to Ian, get it here, and then let him go be a basketball player. Like, trust me, we'll look like geniuses. And they've done that. And it's like, I think you have to do that where you have to put some trust in your players where, hey, he's so good. Put him in a spot where he can be successful, get out of the way. And he's been able to do that for a year and a half now. So a lot of good things coming from him and Gage. And obviously we've got some freshmen here that are pretty spectacular. That'll be fun to grow and watch them over the course of 3 or 4 years.
Coach, to that point, a couple of months ago, we talked about recruiting, NIL, continuing to recruit
Mhm.
your own players. With the success, you know what comes with that.
Yep.
You know, people are talking to players, etc. Talk a little bit about how you're recruiting, continue to not recruit just your guys, but still getting out on the road
Yep.
and looking for that next group of 3, 4, 5 kids that are going to fit the Coach Scott Moore way. I want to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first off, it goes right back to what we just talked about. Like, Dare, we run right towards it. And so, like, I've already sat Ian down and said, hey, I have the same conversation I had with you that I did with Ian Scott and Elijah Malone. If you want to go and someone's going to give you $100,000 and that's what you want to do, you have my blessing, man. I'll help you. And you know what he said? He's getting married this off season, so he'll be married going to senior year. He's like, nah, coach, I'm good. I'd rather just finish at Grace. I'm like, okay. And with that, like, again, we don't, and I don't mind saying this, like, I know sometimes it's a secret to, you know, what the NAI is doing and stuff. Like, if we had money, I'd love to have NIL and be able to give stuff. You know, we're able to get some fundraising and stuff to take scholarships. What I'm really trying to do, guys, is I'm trying to raise enough money where I can award my own guys, right? So again, I can't give Ian Roch $100,000. Like, I don't even have a penny of that, right? But like, if someone came to me and said, hey, we love Ian, we know he's getting married, here's $2,000, right, to help Grace basketball, I'd give it to Ian. Like, here you go, here's your honeymoon, here's $2,000, right? But I think that's what you do is you approach each one of your players like, look, I've got 5 freshmen right now that, man, in a year and a half, they all might be getting phone calls. But we talk about it, like, hey, if you ever get a phone call, tell me first, right? Like, and I know most coaches will just call me directly. But, and then we just talk about it. And I think we've done enough to hopefully where, you know, they still want to stay and be a part of this. And to be honest with you, if Matt Painter calls and, well, then I'm kicking them out and they're going like, see ya, right? You know, essentially we did that with E where, look, you had a 5th year, right? He could have come back to Grace and it's like, no. Like, you're gone. Like, you go get that life-changing money, go to Colorado, have an experience, and it's been a game changer for him. So, and then as far as recruiting other players, we just stick to our guns there. This is who we are. This is what we like. I'll be honest with you, you know, we waited to see what these freshmen were like, and it's like, okay, what do we need in the 26 class? Because we have no seniors, and we haven't had a reputation of losing players. So how many freshmen can you really bring in? How many transfers can you bring in to a team that is currently number 1 in the country, right? And so, like, something's going on, right? Like, I tell my assistants, like, we're the only ones that can mess this up. You bring in the wrong kid in that locker room, and you lose what you built in a matter of minutes. Yeah. So we heavily invest our current players in the recruiting process. You know, we may only bring in 1, 2 guys max. They're probably going to be freshmen. You know, I never want to say never with transfers, because there's definitely some kids that we've had relationships that have gone somewhere else for college out of high school. But that's typically what it usually is. It's a relationship we've currently had. It's very rarely a kid who's going to come back and come to Grace who we haven't had any contact with prior. Like, it's not our style. It doesn't fit well. We're such a tight-knit group that to just bring in a kid off the street that's a really good player to join our team, it just doesn't mesh well typically. So yeah, that's kind of the full thing. Like, there is recruiting your own players, but it's not like I'm actively recruiting them. I'm telling them, like, hey, this is a special place. You want to be a part of it? We want you here. If you don't want to be a part of it, I'll never keep anyone from leaving. Like, we got other guys as well. So we're lucky that hopefully those guys will continue to come back, and I think at this point they will.
I like that. You know, keeping your own, the homegrown, it just seems like, you know, there's not a lot of surprises as well too, Coach, right? You know, you don't have, oh, shoot, I didn't see that coming. You know, and I think teenagers and young men kind of gravitate to that. You know, yeah, we all say we got to embrace change, but when it first happens, no one likes it at first, right?
Yeah, and I think the other thing
help.
too with that is like, you know, you come to our games, you see us play. It's like, man, these crowds right now are just like what these guys have built. Our crowds are unbelievable, and it's you know, we're sitting there, and again, I understand the concept of Colorado's playing Grace, but you know, we're at Colorado for that exhibition game, and you know, we had more fans, it felt like, than they did there. And then you come back to Grace, and you know, we're playing Taylor on a random Wednesday night, and you look around, and there's not a seat available. Like, it is so loud, and it's like, you know, when you get to pitch these kids, like, hey, don't you want to be a part of this? Like, look at this. This is as close to what you had, maybe for some of you even more in high school, that you're going to get here. Because, you know as well as I do, is like, if you're not going to Indiana or Purdue, or, I mean, even some of the, like, and not even Notre Dame at times, I guess sometimes, but like, even though we have a smaller amount of people that are coming to the games, we have less seats, so it is full, and the energy, man, you can just feel it. So I think having local kids, Daryl, I think having recruiting that way, I think that helps a ton. People want to stay invested in these kids after high school, and it's made all the difference in the world, man. It's a cool place to watch a game.
Yeah, Isaiah and I were talking about that. Somehow, maybe when the weather breaks, we got to get up north. I know he's got some loyalty to the east of me here, but we may have to try to meet in the middle somehow. Take a look at that schedule and see if we can tiptoe around the back door. Maybe you can slide us in the back door and no one will know about it.
Hey, you guys come up to Winona and we will get you in for free. I guarantee it. We'll take care of you. My AD is awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. We definitely appreciate that. Isaiah, I know you got a couple things as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, you know, our good friend and your good friend as well, Billy D, Cascade Hoops Talk. He's come up there for a couple games. He was there for the tournament with you, Huntington, and I forgot the Morningside
Briarcliff. Yeah, the G.
Yeah, talk about that event for a little bit, right? I know that's gone on for a little bit, and for you, is that a good testing point for your team when you get to that tournament? Because I know that's some good competition in Briarcliff and Morningside.
Yeah, I mean, it was Billy's idea like 4 or 5 years ago, and we started. I don't know if you realize, we started in Oregon, where we had this idea with, okay, let's get a couple of big time Crossroads, let's get a couple Cascade teams, and the way the NAI works now, these you know, being able to grow across the country is a big deal to start playing these conference matchups, because that just wasn't the norm the last decade. You just play your region, right? And then you get in the national tournament, and now you're playing a team from California.
Yeah.
And so Billy kind of has this idea, and I was like, well, like, let's just make this happen. We'll have everybody out to Indiana, and then we'll turn around and we'll go out to Oregon. And we did that, and it was beautiful. Bethel came with us. I mean, it was just an amazing experience. So we got done with it. I was like, man, I want to do this again. So we got hooked up with, you know, the GPAC is one of those conferences that they're so good offensively. And look, we're like Briarcliff and Morningside national teams, like powerhouse teams. Let's get them. So we came to Grace and Huntington this year. We ended up playing at Grace Friday and at Huntington Saturday, which was kind of cool. And then we're going to go out, and Morningside and Briarcliff are 10 minutes away from each other. So next year we're going out. We're going to play at one place on Friday, next place on Saturday. And I've already got on the phones just yesterday to start, okay, after this next year, who do we want to do this with? And so we're talking to a few teams down in the Sun and some of these other teams where it's like, man, if I'm going to go travel, might as well go to Florida or something.
There you go. There you go. I'm sure Billy D would like that too.
Those non-conference, like, heavy hitters early, one, it really gives you a sense of kind of where you're at right at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Right? And two, the other thing I'm hoping it does, you know, as I kind of help with some of this rating stuff for the NAIA, I really want teams to feel like they can go out and play really good basketball teams early on and not feel like they're going to get killed. Like, if you're a top 10 team in the country and you go on the road and play another top 10 team in the country and you get beat and it's a good game, it should mean nothing. It should absolutely do nothing to hurt you. Maybe you drop a ranking or two ultimately, but it should not hurt you whatsoever. And if the team wins, it should only bring you confidence and help you even go that much further. So we're trying to get this where we want to see more of these big time matchups early in the season in non-conference. And if we can get rid of this whole mantra of, oh, I can't lose, because if I lose, I'm not going to be able to make the national tournament. Like, that's not true. Yeah. And I think the NAI has to continue to work out their RPI system and their strength of schedule system. And maybe we even move to this quad idea with the net that the NCAA does. You know, we have the quad system now, but like, I want to see more of those early season power matchups, because they're good for the NAI, man. It's just good to have people tune in and watch these high level basketball teams. You know, you just had Idaho go down to play Arizona Christian the other day. And you're talking about two big time programs tipping off in November. And it's like, that's what we need. Mm-hmm. It was a 2-point game. It was close the whole game. Like, it's just, and you know, Idaho got beat. It should do absolutely nothing for them. They're a really good team. They traveled down to Phoenix. They lost to the number 2 team in the country by 2 in overtime. It's like, good for Idaho. Good for you for doing that. Like, I'm not going to hurt you at all for making that trip, right? So, yeah, that's just what the idea came about, guys, and hopefully we can continue on next in 2 years after our GPAC one gets done.
No, that's awesome. I you know, Billy talked about it with me, and he talked about it when we had him on the show, and we were talking because he came to Indiana for that, and I got to meet him in person, and he talked about that, and the first thing he said was, man, he's like, Grace looks really good. And I was like, he was like, you know, it was, I forgot which game was a bit close after the first half, but he was like, you know, it looked close, but it didn't feel close.
Well, we got down 15-0 to start the Morningside game, just so you
really
know. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, I had no clue.
I about walked out and said, no, I'm good. I'm going to take the rest of the day off. And somehow we ended up winning by 15. But yeah, that was that one. I think we missed the starting time or something like that. I think we were 20 minutes late. But yeah, they're awesome, man. Billy's amazing, and he does such a good job of just promoting the NAI, and it means a lot for us, honestly.
No, yeah, and he you know, he helped me get in contact with you. He's helped me get in contact with a couple of other NAIA coaches, and you break up a good point with the tournament and everything else. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, is a lot of the precedent and the idea of, you know, if you don't win your conference championship, you know, you may not get into the tournament when you look at some of these teams, because getting in is not hard it's hard to do. So a lot of these teams, obviously, if you win your conference title, it gets you in. But also, I think you bring up a good point. If you play a bunch of tough teams and you go, you know, 5 of 7, you win 5, lose 2, and your record's 26-5, you more than likely should get in.
Well, we're doing a good job. I think the NAI is doing a really good job of figuring that out. We have this ARC system now where we rank teams in our pods, and essentially the national raters, the people who are picking the national tournament teams, go off of those, you know, pod rankings. So it gives you a good example, like, you know, from the Crossroads, I think the last couple of years we've had 5 and 6 teams make it. 6 out of 10 teams are going. So it's like very Big Ten-ish, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, look, you know, it's hard to win a conference championship, right? But also, like, you know, Bethel's over here sitting at 22-6. And, you know, they finished 3rd in the league or something. It's like, well, that's a national, not only is that a national tournament team, like, that's a high seeded national tournament team. So we are trying to do that, where play good teams. You still have to win, but you don't have to win every single game. You know, winning your conference, honestly, if it were up to me, I'd make it like the NCAA. I think we should just do one tournament bid. I'd like to see just each conference get a tournament winner goes, and then open up for that at large and just pick a little bit more at large teams. I think you'd get maybe a little bit. It's hard to get the perfect 64, but I think you'd get close, and I think that would make it easier from a metric standpoint, at least.
Yeah, no, for sure. I you know, Billy helped me find, you know, more streaming sites to where I can watch these games. So I've gotten to watch you guys. I got to watch Arizona Christian. So I'm getting more in tune with the higher ranked programs that, you know, are out on the West Coast and everything else. So it's been good to get to know some of these other programs. Daryl, you got any questions?
Yeah, I do, Coach. We had talked, you know, again, I keep referencing back to our last conversation, but now as you and I'm on the other sideline coaching against you. What do you want me to speak about your team when I'm preparing my team to be a Coach Moore coach team. What are the things that you want to be said about your team when you're not around, not just from a complimentary perspective, but something that matters in a winning in a winning situation? What do I say to my team?
Yeah, I'd like every coach to sit there and say, man, I'd love to coach that team.
Yeah.
Like, I think the ultimate is, man, they play really hard and they just play the right way. Like I said, like, we want to be the number one team in the nation that everybody cheers for. And when you're going through those handshake lines, the last thing I want is a coach just to be like disgusted at how we won, or, you know, that we won. You know, you can be upset that either we won or they won or how you played or whatnot. Like that's coaching, and that's, you know, part of the game. But like when you watch that film and you get that text from a coach, and I've done it too, where, you know, I've texted coaches after we won and after we lost and said, hey man, like, just very impressed with how your kids go about. And you can tell that's a coaching thing. Like, there are things that are allowed, there are things that are not allowed, and you can see those systems that are just those teams that are coached up really, really well, what's allowed and what's not. And just, I think that's the best compliment anyone can give you is like, holy coach, man, I'd love to coach your team. And not just from good players, but like how they play. Because I've said this before, and I don't know, maybe I'll learn this later, but I really don't care. And I really don't think God cares if we win or lose games. Like, I just don't think he cares that I win a basketball game. But I do think he cares how we win and how we lose. I think that matters. And I tell the boys all the time, like, look, we're going to win the right way and we will lose the right way. And no matter what, it's going to look the same, right? That consistency, Daryl, that we talked about is we're not going to be emotional. You beat us. And we'll go back to the locker room and we'll take our licks and we'll be humbled and we'll go back the next day and try to get better.
I like that. You know, I got one more. I want to pivot a little bit away from basketball, but staying in the competition realm.
Okay.
Looking at the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry game yesterday, one of the things that I saw, and you know, I'm a college football fan, college basketball fan. Two differences I saw yesterday in two rivalry games. And my take is this. This is only my take. Haven't even shared it much with Isaiah. The Michigan-Ohio State rivalry game has gone to the point of it's beyond a rivalry. It's a little bit of disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
You saw a little bit on the field yesterday with the player headbutting the referee. A lot of talk and a lot of trash talk. And I get trash talking, right? But there's got to be a level of respect. Mm-hmm. And then the flip side of that is the Alabama-Auburn game. Mm-hmm. This is an in-state rivalry. Give example. Auburn has 47 players from Alabama. Alabama has 45. Now that's an in-state rivalry. But yet I've never seen in my years of watching the Iron Bowl a level of disrespect where flags are planted, players are spitting, and even at the end of the game, they just kind of refuse to shake hands and go about that. My perspective is the rivalry is about the competition piece. I think it crosses the line when it goes negative. And I want to get your thoughts on your rival, not just, you know, maybe even in high school or currently at Grace, but your take on the rivalry piece that's being blown out of proportion in a lot of news media circuits right now.
Yeah, I think it starts and ends with coaching. Honestly, I think it starts and ends with us. Like, leadership trickles down, and you know, you're dealing with you're dealing with a lot of emotion, a lot of money, right? Like college football. First off, you got to be a crazy town to even coach college football. Those dudes are like weird. I mean that a good way, but like in reality, Daryl, like it's just there is emotion, but there's so much to be taught with a game about life, and I think the best coaches understand that and they figure that out where every opportunity is a learning opportunity. And you always have to remember, I get caught up doing this myself too, because when you're around, you know, young kids for a while, like your brain doesn't think like a 40-year-old. Sometimes you think like a 20-year-old, and you're like, okay, wait a minute. But like they're kids. You forget they are like they're children, right? They're just children in grown men bodies. And I think it is so important for us as leaders to consistently talk about that. And again, that game, both those games, are going to have a level of emotion that is unmatched, right? It is going to be unbelievable. And there are going to be some things that are like, okay, that hit's going to be a little late. Like there's going to be a little bit more talk. There's going to be a little bit more of emotions running through. But I'd still think like planting flags and, being dirty and saying certain things. And like it starts and ends with the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And like, look, I've understood this, guys. Let's be honest. We have won a ton of games at Grace. The boys have done an unbelievable job, and it may be. Don't quote me on this, but someone sent me this. I think that Grace basketball since 2020 has won more games in the country than every program except Gonzaga and Houston. Of every level. I think we have the third most wins. And guess what? We've never won a national title since I've been here. Like, it's all like, you want to humble yourself. Congratulations. Look, there's a ring on this finger.
Hey, congrats on the wins, but you need to win the big one, right?
Yeah. So, again, like, and maybe I'm not made out for that, Daryl. Maybe just my coaching style and what I believe is different and whatnot. But if you make it about wins and losses, if you make it only about that, man, it's going to let you down and you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
You're going to be miserable. If you lose every game, you're miserable. If you win a lot of games like Grace has done and you lose one game, guess what? You're miserable. Like there's no getting around it. So there just has to be something else than the outcome of a game. And I think that's where I've been proud of just seeing these boys. And football's a different beast, right? You're talking about 100 kids.
Yeah.
You're coaching 100 kids. I got 15, right? It's easier for me to control 15, but I think that's where your staff comes in. I think that's where the leadership, I think that's where your athletic director, everything is a part of it. And hey, that respect that you talk about, that's thrown out the window sometimes. And I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
Like when we play Indiana Wesleyan, when we play Huntington, when we play Bethel, whatever, like we're going to do whatever we can to beat those dudes. Yeah. And if we do, I'm going to sit there and go, man, that is an awesome program that you just beat. Yeah. Like they are good, which means you did something right. And if they beat us, it's going to say they beat us. They're really good. We got to get better because that's what we're trying to get to, right?
Love it.
And I think that's the respect level you're talking about where, it is a shame in some places. And it's not like that everywhere.
No.
Like, I think let's not throw everybody under the bus here. There's some awesome programs and awesome coaches. But, yeah, it's a shame to see it kind of get out of control a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think money's driven a lot of that as well, too. If you think about it, Coach, you're talking about maybe you've got maybe 5 to 10 players on your team that are millionaires potentially.
Millionaires.
Literally. I mean, and we're talking about the Power Five.
Yep.
We're talking about the Ohio States, Michigans, Bama, LSU's,
And people like coaches want to make a big deal out of the kids, leaving or on their phones, getting recruited by other teams and making plans already to leave. Well, I mean, Lane Kiffin's about ready to leave. Yeah. Like he's not even going to coach the national championship, right? Because he's going to take $12 million a year and leave. And it's just, I've never been like, if I'm allowed to do that, then I'm not going to complain if Elijah Malone does that. Again, I think there's a way to handle it. I think there's a way to do it, but my goodness, like, I think it just starts with us, man. I think we got to be better.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, that's a great. I want to share that. It's just something that's hit me yesterday, and we've talked, and I said, man, I'm going to ask Scott about it because that doesn't sit well with me, right?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure I shared that because
Well, I promise you this: if we somehow beat Huntington on Wednesday, ain't no flag planting gonna be. We're going to the locker room and we're gonna say, "Thank goodness we played well," because that's a good basketball team.
Win is one. I like that.
Well, I gotta ask you about this, right? Since we brought up Huntington, obviously Corey Alford was just there. We just had him on the pod.
Yep.
Who was that? Isaiah? Corey who?
Yeah, Corey Alford.
We forgot about him already, man.
I gotta ask you when it came to Corey and coaching against him, how was that? Obviously, with his background and his lineage, and now obviously he's at Oral Roberts. How was it coaching against a guy like Corey, and getting to play him every single year? That had to have been fun.
Well, you know what the rumor is, right? The rumor is he took the Oral Roberts job because he couldn't beat the Lancers.
Hey, we're gonna clip this.
Clip that,
Shoot, man, that guy, man, was he good? We had a heck of a time. Just he was such a good X's and O's, and I think what Corey did really well was he had an identity. Mm-hmm. And he knew who he was, and he recruited his players, and they played that way. And I think the best coaches in the country can essentially give you their scouting report and say, "Hey, here's what we're going to do. Good luck." And Corey was one of those where he could give us everything they were going to do, but good luck trying to stop them. They just were so good at what they did. And an opportunity came up. Obviously, he's good friends with Corey Barnett, who's the head coach at Oral Roberts, and I'm just really happy for him. And obviously, just you always wondered, right, with the name. Corey is obviously coming from big time programs his whole life, and I could see him staying at Huntington for his life, and I could see him coaching at Indiana one day, hopefully. But I think as long as Corey Alford's coaching basketball, I think it's good for college basketball because he's really good.
And he talked about that in our interview where he was like, I had no plans of leaving, but then, Barnett called me and it was like, well, I gotta jump on it. As we begin to wrap up here with this interview, Coach, once again, I want to give you a big thank you for coming on and joining us. And I also want to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Matt Gaddis of State Farm. If you need any insurance help, folks, make sure to contact Matt Gaddis. Coach, just a fun question I got to ask. The arena that you guys play in, I've gotten to see videos, I've gotten to see photos. It's really, really nice. I haven't gotten to see a lot of the other arenas in the NAIA. Where would you rank your arena? And what are some other nice arenas that you guys have been to when it comes to NAIA schools?
Well, the NAIA is, the longest, it's the longest standing college basketball in college basketball, right? The NAIA has been around since forever. So what's cool with that is you've got some really cool old gymnasiums around the country that are just whoa. I think, ours was designed so well where I think just the campus layout with the lake and then having that building kind of be up on the hill. And then when you walk in, being able to go down inside the arena, it just gives off this feel like, holy cow, we are in a big time facility. So that's, where does it rank? I don't know. But I will tell you this, every time I walk into work, I'm just like, I can't believe we actually played. It's crazy.
You picture yourself.
It's up there. Some other cool ones, an old one, the Corn Palace at Dakota Wesleyan is really cool. That's been around forever. It is kind of distinguished. It's called the Corn Palace, right? For a reason. It's got this really unique. Wesleyan is building a new one, I heard, so they've got one coming. See some of the ones I've played in that have been really, really cool. Pikeville has an arena when they get to play in it. It's pretty sweet. I know that College of Idaho's is pretty tough to play in. ACU's is unique. It's not my favorite.
It's super unique.
It's small and it's definitely home court advantage. But yeah, we were able to go to Oregon Tech. Oregon Tech has a really neat old facility. It's kind of just big on both sides, goes straight up, and that's a really neat facility. Trying to think where else we played in. The Crossroads Leagues has some great gyms, man. Huntington is brand new with the gym has been there, but they redid everything and it's really small. So what's cool is you go there and I bet it seats 1,000 people max, and you can guarantee there's going to be more than 1,000 people there. and it is just loud. And like you talk about a home court advantage, Huntington has it. I think that, let's see here.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
St. Francis is cool, and I like playing the St. Francis's gym. We were just there the other day. Taylor's is cool. They got the park core. Yeah, so you can see there the arena, the Orthopedic Capital Center. You actually walk in at the bottom right side there at the top, and you can kind of see down. It is interesting. You know, the Orthopedic Capitals are the one who helped build that. So that stage was important back in 2007 because we had all these orthopedic shows. The problem is, 15, 20 years later, now we don't have as many of those orthopedics.
Yeah.
So you're like, man, I'd love to have me a little bowl right there that turned around that corner. And
Yeah.
I tell you what, as much as fans we have, I keep pressing my AD, hey, we get some seats around there on that little edge. We can get another 500-600 people in here pretty easily, man. So yeah, it's a cool place to play, man. Everybody loves coming there. We just everything's seat back. And you can't really see it, but if you look on the far right side, we have an alumni suite that's all glass. It's kind of like
okay.
and our old court of our old gym is the floor of that alumni suite. So it's a wood floor.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool with the G logo. And they serve drinks and food and stuff during games. You can walk out. There's a glass sliding door on both sides, and it's pretty sweet, man. It's a fun place.
Isaiah, that's an invitation, Isaiah. You hear that, right?
No, that's pretty cool. I've seen video and I've seen photos of it, but I had to ask you. I wanted to ask towards the end because we were a little more serious interview, but I wanted to ask about that because I've seen the arena and I'm like, man, that looks in videos and photos that I see. I'm like, man, that arena looks really nice for sure.
Yeah, Cumberland's Kentucky actually. Now that I was thinking about it, has a cool gym. I think it's really nice in the Mid-South. Yeah, man, bigger's not always better in some of these gyms, man. You get some of the toughest places to play are the small, old, the walls are on both sides. They're really tight. Like you can barely take it out of bounds. Like I think that's important is to have a little home court advantage. So a lot of good places, but I think ours is one of the best.
Man, I've seen that Arizona Christian one. And like Daryl, I'll have to send you like some video, but like their arena is like it's tight. Like it's tight and it's small and people
like an old middle
up.
school gym, maybe.
It's tight. It's an old so it's an old like army base. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the basketball gym is like an old army tent. So it's actually like the building is actually like one of those high-end like army tents. Oh. And you go inside, there's no locker rooms. It's bleachers. It's the court,
literally.
The wall.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's,
you got your bags. You got your bags behind the bench. You just change.
You go under the bleachers. You go under the bleachers to change. Yep. But Coach Rudder's got something going on there because he wins about 98% of his games in there, so I wouldn't change.
Arizona Christian. When I talked to Billy about what the season looks like, he brought up Grace, he brought up Arizona Christian, he brought up he traveled there.
Yeah, they're awesome.
He traveled there this year, and he was like, "Man, it's crazy. Like, because it's so small that noise builds up because it's such a small."
Cool.
It's such a small
You'll
building.
have to show Daryl when you get off here. It's pretty crazy.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll show you some video. Daryl, if you got any final questions, go ahead and go for it.
No, we're good. But just do this. Look forward to meeting you on the 31st for sure.
Love it.
We'll get down there. We'll talk a little bit more about that after this. But I'm definitely excited about it. I'm glad I looked it up, and we'll definitely get some people on board with the Game Time Network.
Cool.
And go down and support Coach Moore and Grace College.
I love it. You guys send me your sizes. I'll bring a couple gear for you. We'll see if we can get Isaiah in a different shade of red.
Hey, he may have to do. He may have to be incognito, Coach.
I'll text Hester. He'll be completely fine with it. I text Hester. He was wearing shorts today, coaching in at the show. I was like, "What are you on vacation? What's going on here?" And they won by 20, so I was like, "You better be staying in shorts."
He's a cool cat for sure.
Yeah, he is a cool cat, man.
We've been doing a weekly interview series with Hester, so it's been fun to do with him. And yeah, they just got done with the show. I didn't know he coached in shorts though. I'll have to ask him about that.
Today. He's like, "Hey, win or lose, I'm gonna be comfortable," and he was comfortable because they played well.
About that one. Have you guys ever gone to the show?
No, it's a Thanksgiving thing where my college coach never played on this weekend, and I've kind of kept it the same. Where I'm like, you know what,
Gotcha.
this is a good time for me to let the boys just kind of be at home and take a deep breath, and it gives me a chance to take a deep breath, honestly. So we probably will never do it.
Well, you get to go to Hawaii for Christmas. So
We got to go to Hawaii. Trust me, we're not
must be
slumming.
brutal.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
Is the family gonna go too? I
As
assume.
part of my family's going. My parents are going. My sister's going. My sister, actually, it's her last state she's ever been to.
Oh, okay.
This will be number 50, so I'm excited.
Wow,
That's a winner.
That's
That's a
pretty
winner.
cool.
All right, boys, be good, man. Thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate both of you, and look forward to connecting soon.
No,
Definitely,
Coach,
We appreciate you.
it has been awesome. But that is going to do it, folks, for this episode of Game Time Live. We will see you guys tomorrow for an NFL recap. So that's going to do it for us, folks. We'll see you for another episode of Game Time Live tomorrow on Monday.